Greetings, this is Starseed Scotty sharing an astrological horoscope for February 21st, 2019. Thank you for watching. Let's see what the transits are like today in the sky through planetwatcher.com. So today, the moon is in Libra, which I think is a really nice, refreshing change from the moon in Virgo, which was very detail-oriented and making us focus on the physical things. Moon in Libra seems to be more expansive, and Libra is ruled by Venus, so it really asks us about relationships, how we reviewing our emotions to relationship we have with ourselves. And it's more about others, because Taurus is more of the relationship with ourselves. Libra is the glyph of the scale, so it's always wanting to balance things and compromise. Let's see here. First thing I see here is that there's a finger of God aspect between the moon in Libra with Sun in Pisces and Mars in Taurus. These three circles here. So the first thing is that the Sun in Pisces is sextiling Mars and Taurus, which is great energy. Water and earth creates mud, or water and plants create growth. So as a sextile is a dynamic aspect. When we put more energy into something, it can expand it to the next level. And Mars is a very yang planet, but in Taurus it's kind of softened. Taurus is, excuse the background noise. So I think it's good for Pisces, because as a Sun in Pisces, I can say that it's very easy for us to be very detached. We're dreamers. We're our imagination often, and like I said in another horoscope, it's easiest for us because we're so empathic and sensitive. We just check out from the physical realm and just like live in our astral or etheric body. So we're here, but we're kind of somewhere else. We're like daydreaming, so to speak. But with Mars in Taurus, it's much more grounded, but in a kind of manifesting way. Mars is that willpower, and Mars passing Uranus really has an electric charge. Uranus is very electrical, very transformative, and very it's just been an amazing transit. I really enjoyed Uranus in Aries. It's very intense, but when it's like riding a wave. If you're on the tip of the wave, like the crest of it, it's extremely exciting but there's a lot of power in it. And if you don't ride the wave well, you'll get pummeled. And I think that's what that transit has shown us. But Mars has gone into Taurus. I think is asking us to integrate more this electrical Uranian quantum self, this new aspect, because anybody talks about ascension and awakening of our planet, that's really obvious for anybody who is using their psychic senses. We can awaken when we download the activations and then integrate it. That's really important, because so much the new age, or new cage, they say, is very woo-woo, or really loving ideas, but kind of spaced out, or not practical, saying that love is all we need. And I mean, love is an ultimate power, but sometimes if we're just too focused on the principles and not the actions, then it's just words and there's no meaning behind it. So Mars and Taurus, I think, with the Sun in Pisces sextile, is when we take actions to develop our ascension. So a great example would be food. Taurus rules food and health in the second house, and money. And when we nurture, because health is wealth. I've spent 10 years completely transforming my whole being through a radical diet. I don't really eat food anymore. I take lots of herbal supplements, and I've talked about it in other videos. You can maybe check those out. But I take dozens of different supplements and about 50 or so different vitamins and minerals, and I just researched what the body needs. And because the thing about Taurus is it can be a little stubborn or a little lazy if it's not applied. If because it's a very, I think it's fixed Earth. But in any case, Mars is just bringing the Taurus energy forward because it's Mars's will. So if we invest with our actions, having into health by taking steps, so things that are empowering, I'm really big on stimulants. So for example, I did a video recently talking about making a herbal coffee. The coffee is a stimulant. You can consider it to be quite Martian because it's very consistent in the beta waves, the caffeine, and a lot of chi. But I add the herbs, many herbs from China and South America, like maca, and then tea from China, and then ashwagandha from India, and basically just herbs that have been used for thousands of years that have balancing, which would be the Moon and Libra effects, but also Taurus because they're grounding. There's like maca and licorice and many other roots are literally grown under the ground. So the word for grounding is a literal term, and what that does is it applies the stimulating effect of the coffee to become so that we can integrate it and not be so incredibly wired that we kind of just burn out or spin out. So I'm really big on taking stimulants with sedatives at the same time, but in a very, very smart way. So just get back to the picture. If we invest in physical things, it's not always food. It can be like going out in nature, which would be Taurus, and going on a walk or a hike, which would be the Mars energy of like going out and forth. Doing that can allow us to connect to the spiritual sense, especially going out in nature. It's the energetics of connecting to nature is absolutely incredibly healing. After 10 years of doing my energy work, I can instantly feel my different chakras from 7 to 12 connecting to the upper dimensions just by being in nature, because being inside of a building, it immediately blocks off access to higher centers. That's what I'm aware of now. That's my truth. There's many different principles to that, but in any case, taking physical steps in an innovative way with Mars can expand our spirituality of Pisces, which is being illuminated by the sun. So that's the two dynamic parts. Now they're both pointing to the Moon in Libra. So what I think with that finger of fate or finger of God is that when we do the practical steps to take care of our body, self-love, going out in nature, or many other things, and seeing that those things can connect us to something spiritual or allow us to expand our imagination, which is Pisces, then that will automatically nurture our emotions and balance things, which is Libra. So yeah, I think that's what that interpretation could be. So what I also see is the Moon in Libra earlier today was opposing Chiron, and so that was a call to healing. Chiron just entered Aries, so this is a new cycle, a 10-year cycle, I believe. And I feel a lot of yang energy in this transit. Aries, of course, ruled by Mars, and it's the first degree of the zodiac, so it's a new cycle. And the Moon opposing Chiron here, I think, is just questioning if we're too yang, we can burn out, just like people drink coffee all day and just get so wired that you just can't focus. The Libra wants us just to balance the scales of it. If we take stimulants or if we take things that um, in our healing process, if we're there's millions of things we can do for our healing journey, but if we're just doing lots of things and not integrating it or grounding it, then it's we're not going to make progress. We're just going to keep going in circles. So I think it's great for us to be innovative with the Aries energy, but I think the Moon in Libra is asking each new thing we do, because Mars is all about pioneering the new. It's like um, it's drive, will, power. When we take those little steps forward, it's important for us just to kind of feel with the moon, and see, like, when I take this action, how does it? What are the consequences of those actions, and also how does those actions affect other people? Because Libra is very much, it sees reflection of others. So yeah, big aspect I see here is it's just approaching, because the moon is still at 8 degrees, but it's going to be squaring this Capricorn stellium in the top there. And that square is, yeah, that's a very intense aspect, sure, because Venus is conjoining Pluto now, 21 degrees. She just conjoined Saturn a few days ago. And that was, I think that was nice. It was probably highlighting a lot of questions about how do we fit into our role in society via our work or via our career. And with Pluto, though, it's a whole different story. It really is. If Saturn could be seen as like how we what our role in society is, Pluto would be what is the role of our evolution, which is, it's a big question, because evolution can mean many things, but another key word is transformation. And Capricorn knows physical, and I think this transit's really going to be, we're already seeing massive changes in society, but the question is, what is our place in this? Just Venus. Venus is very, very internal, and in Capricorn, I think we can try. Like, what I've done is I've transformed my whole life by starting with the basics, with my diet, with meditation practices, plant medicine. I like to use essential oils for the frequency, because Capricorn is cardinal Earth. It's kind of like the mastery, the pinnacle of Earth energy. And I have a progressed grand Earth trine now with 3 Earth planets, Earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And I think Capricorn is like building a new story, because it's with the rulership of Capricorn of Saturn. It's when we plan something, we have a goal in mind. We have to take the steps to get there, and sometimes we don't know how it's going to happen. But for example, what I've done is just dedicated myself to the highest vibration possible. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the grids could go down. We could have spaceship landing, or we could have new societies developing. There's amazing things that are inevitably going to happen. There's so much corruption in this world, and that's something that's coming up, because the shadow of Pluto is corruption, especially in Capricorn and with Saturn there. Because if society has rules, and those rules are controlled by, by things that's a whole other story. But what I think is Venus and Pluto is asking us, what is deep, what is real, because It's, I mean, most most interactions I see in society are superficial because there's a lot of things that we feel that we're forced to do. Like I have to work to get money. One example, and we have to pay taxes and things like that. These stats are. Pluto is much deeper than that. It's like, why do we do? What is the purpose of our destiny? And I think with Venus there, it's really asking like, where is the value? Because that's kind of the forest part of Venus in our life. What is the meaning? What do we want to do to go to the next level? For me, one of the biggest parts is shadow work, which is basically looking at the dark side of life. Because a lot of New Age is focused on love and light, and really important because it's love is who we are ultimately, and to me, it's the most amazing thing of being human, to feel bliss and to feel compassion and feel care. But there is a lot of dark stuff in the human psyche, and people will lie and people will manipulate, which is another Pluto theme. And if we don't confront that, then we will be the victim of that. So I think Venus, because it's a soft sign, is easier to feel like we're a slave. And that's a subject that I really am big on. That what they call the prison planet, and there's much depth to support ideas like that. But I've come to the terms of after looking at conspiracy theories for decades, and that the truth of corruption goes so deep and interdimensional and multidimensional that to me it's not as important to actually know those details. It's much more important to know where my place is, of where my heart is, because Venus is really much on the heart. Because wisdom is not just knowledge. I can know everything that's happening, but what does that mean for the deeper side? Wisdom is about applied experience with knowledge. And when we can dive into these uncomfortable places and know that we're being guided, then I really feel that we can go through the transformation on the other side, be all the more powerful for that. I can say from the dark night of the soul that I've gone through, that it's this darkest before dawn, and the most intense times where I feel I'm dying have brought out the best in me and revealed that we have spiritual guidance all of the time. But if we play the victim role and see that everything outside is to get us, which is understandable because there was layers of control that are so pervasive and invisible that it can just seem like everything's corrupt. But this is a lesson, and I think Spirit wants us to see that power we have inside of us when we access that and have an open heart can transform anything, absolutely anything. Because the polarity point of this, what Pluto is going over, is Cancer, North Node, and that's really a call for us to be sensitive and be guided by that beautiful feeling of family that we have when we merge with others. But if we're too vulnerable is really, really, really important, because if we're not open, then we get closed and we can't perceive anything. And when we come across others, we just push it away, and that creates so much conflict. But when we're vulnerable in a sense of being open to feel the good, the bad, and the ugly, then we can discern with the mastery of Capricorn and the mastery of Venus to make the right choice. That's the best thing for us, because if we don't do our Capricorn work, external authorities will come and will attract that. Either people who are controlling us or people who are wanting to, yeah. But if we master at least the awareness of the physical world and how cause and effect occurs, then we can start becoming the game master. what some of the Pleiadians say. And we can make our own game and change some of the rules but go according to the bit, because Saturn's always is an energy that we always just want to kind of work with. To me, it's better to compromise than rebel against everything. Uranus wants to rebel, but we can do that with intelligence, for sure. So, if there's any other aspects? Yeah, so the last one I think I'll talk about today is Jupiter squaring Mercury, almost exactly. Jupiter at 21 degrees Sagittarius, and Mercury at 20 degrees Pisces. Mercury just past Neptune and really opening up to those spiritual dimensions with our mind. But with Jupiter squaring Mercury in Pisces, that's really a big question of our mind, our higher mind and our lower mind. Uh, Jupiter's going to be trining Uranus, so that's a nice fire trine, and that's really seems very evolutionary. So I think, yeah, Jupiter in Sagittarius is really calling us to push forward, to try new things, to explore reality. And for me, one of the biggest motivations for life is just to be curious. Like, what is this bizarre place? And why is everything if I change something inside of me, I can actually see the external effects, consequences of that, cause and effect of everything. That would be kind of Uranus. And Jupiter is all about learning. And when we learn enough, then we can start teaching. The student and the teacher, there was one quote I heard which kind of related that said, someone was talking about enlightened masters, and this Zen guy said, technically, there's not really such a thing as an enlightened being per se. There's really only enlightened experience. And that really, really struck home to me, because when we say, oh, that person is a master, then there's examples that I've seen in my life of people who literally worship. They see someone as like a living god. And yeah, there are beings on this planet who will probably come from the star system, star seeds, who they have awakened. There's 12-strand DNA, or they've done lifetimes of work and they have mastery. But even if they have all of the knowledge in the universe, does that mean that they're better than someone else or should be worshipped? Because that quote saying there's not enlightened people, there's enlightened experiences. What that means for me is that when we detach from the need to externalize everything and realize that everything is eternal anyway, then well, it's quite a fascinating concept, because Pisces is unity consciousness, but Pisces is not personal. Pisces is like is I can't even it's so vast that we don't even see that particular place of our individual ego. Sagittarius, I think, does have a bit of ego in it, and I think it can be a healthy ego, because if we use our ego to become pioneer and to become our own master, then we can be an example to others. But that analogy I used before of like the enlightened person versus the enlightened experience, so if we can do it in a detached way, then we can, yeah, I can't really explain it that clearly, but I think this is part of the energy of that square. It's personal, and Pisces is impersonal, whereas Jupiter is kind of more personal. But Mercury is the lower octave of the mind, whereas Jupiter is the higher octave, because the polarity point of Jupiter or Sagittarius is Gemini. Gemini is the mind that we see of our day-to-day actions, whereas Jupiter was left brain, or logical brain, whereas Sagittarius is the right brain, which is that quantum brain that sees the interconnectedness of things. It's different than Pisces, though. It's something that, yeah, I'm quite curious about, because I have a lot of Jupiter and or Sag and Pisces in my chart, and I think they could be complementary. But so another thing that's happening is the Mercury in Pisces is going to be trining the North Node, which adds a lot more emotional energy to this. The North Node is more of an instinctive empathy, whereas Mercury is our individual mind connecting to that feeling of unity. And I can't really describe it, except, for example, when I'm in nature, I just have this overall sense of calm and peace when I'm there. Seeing trees, and it's like that would be a good analogy of Pisces, nature, because nature has a frequency which is connected to the consciousness of the earth, or Gaia, that is very, very, very harmonious. I mean, there's chaos as well, but the overall frequency of it is a feeling of that we can connect to, because we come from nature as well. Even though we live in very artificial worlds, we can see that there is a unity in the universe. Sagittarius, though, this Jupiter Sagittarius thing, which is quincunx thing, Cancer North Node, is I think it's asking us that if we space out too much with this Pisces Cancer energy, we will not really be practical in the sense of our awakening, because to really expand and awaken, we have to be extremely intelligent. We have to merge the left and the right spheres of the brain. We use our logic and our intuition. Sagittarius is quite intuitive, and so it's like wisdom. Wisdom is not just knowledge, and it's not just experience. The experience would be Cancer and Pisces. It's knowledge with experience, which would equal wisdom. So yeah, that's that's really something to pay attention to. That energy, it could be stirring our brain up. It could be making us a little confused. Pisces and Mercury is somewhat of a detriment. And, so I would just encourage anyone, if you are feeling kind of like spaced out, or if you're feeling stressed out, just go in nature for 20 minutes a day. Just take a break, or that's go outside. Or with the Jupiter energy, research, like go on YouTube, type in something you're interested in. I always like to study philosophical things, astrology, for example, because that's very expensive. Things with health and diet and healing. Just those ways, when we're really reaching out of ourselves and learning from others, then that can help us with the confusion and our own delusions, that because we're all programmed, we all have with this Capricorn energy, there is thousands of years of control structures that we are gradually transforming, and this healing is not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to take generations, but we can become the pioneer by becoming our own self-authority, Venus and Capricorn, Pluto, to take the steps forward and become the change that we want to see in the world. So I'll leave it for that today. Thank you so much for watching, and aloha from Hawaii.